in and for welcoming in there. Thank you so much. Friends, I don't want to get this new terminology right about he's, her, they, them, what have you. So friends, colleagues, comrades, you are all welcome. I got a whole lot of calls yesterday and today asking me what's the dress code. And I wasn't sure. So to those who asked me, thank you very much. Because I would not have worn a jacket and tie, but because I said to some of you it's a formal event, I didn't want you now saying that, but you told me to dress differently. So I've also done this. Previously, there was only one person that would get me to take off my beard, which by yesterday was looking like this Lord of the Rings character Gandalf, because that's what I wanted to be. But my youngest son has taken over from my mother, who passed away a few months ago. And he was insistent, you cannot go there and embarrass us. So, somehow or the other, she's made sure there is somebody who will keep on that pressure. And then a jacket and tie, I had to dig out stuff that just because some of you have paid, so I can't look all scruffy here. It's a huge honor and privilege for us to welcome you here to this annual gathering. And our gathering, this is a fundraising banquet. We do want to get you to help us keep this foundation going, as you have done for almost 17 years. Yeah, we're in existence for 17 years now. So, and it would not have been possible if it were not for many of you in the room here today, who for 17 years have stood by this foundation. But I also want to give all of you the assurance that although the SARS Commissioner is here with a big team of people, they have given us the assurance that they are not doing lifestyle audits on any of you today. They might have taken photographs of your cars already, but I don't want to say anything about that. So tonight is special because not only do we want to tell you about our work, we also want to honor people who we think exemplify the two key words that would best describe Ahmed Kathrada: courage and service. Courage to do the right things all the time, every day, irrespective of who it might offend or who it might benefit. Service without the expectation of reward. And today there are two South Africans who have done national duty and who embody those two words better than anybody else at this point in time in our view. And we really want you, when we get to that part of the program, is to show your support for what they have done for South Africa. But I'm running ahead of myself. We need to start with the national anthem. But it's also going to be done very differently. A lot of the artists you will see here tonight are young people that I've come across at different platforms in the course of the year. The Xhosa traditional artist who will come up here is somebody who just reached out to say, hey, we would like to come and perform. And he's going to perform the Mbatanga traditional music today. But there's a young woman, a guitarist, that I saw at the Gandhi Walk. And it's just my own stereotypes of young Indian women You don't think of them as standing with a guitar and singing rock. And as much as it just shocked me about my own prejudice, Mika Singh will come up to do the national anthem with a guitar this time. Those of you who feel so inclined, please stand and sing and do whatever you need to do for the national anthem. Those of you who don't know the words, please hum. Mika? No, she's going to sing it. Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming out today. I truly feel honored to be here. And before I sing the national anthem, I just want everybody to take a look around and tell me, what do you see?
Food.
I'll tell you what you see. You see many different races and cultures and backgrounds all in one room today. And this wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for the freedom fighters who fought for this country and for us to be here. So as we stand today, let's just, honor those who fought for us and, just be so proud of where we come from. Kosi sikelele Afrika, manu pagaisu ponoayo, izwa imwitanda soetu. Kosi sikelela tina losapolwayo, murena bulu kesi chabasa Yesu, ufedi sedindwale matwene, sibuluke si chabasa Yesu, si chabasa. South Africa, 80 blow van onze hemel, 80 diepte van ons Heer, waar ons ewige gebergd is, waar die grense antwoord gee. Sounds the call to come together, and united we shall stand. Let us love and strive for freedom in South Africa, our land.
Now, if anybody's got any connection with the Springboks, when they play next, please get Mika to come and do the anthem. I want to now call on our board member, Pumla Williams, to just make a few remarks and welcome you here officially on behalf of the Kathrada Foundation. And she's then will be followed by the two cultural items, Pumo Veneni and the Indian dance group, who will coming up immediately after Pumla. Pumla Williams needs no introduction, former acting DG of GCIS and eventually appointed DG of GCIS, but somebody who also stood up to state capture, appeared before the Zondo Commission. Prior to that, all kinds of work in the ANC, in the underground, all kinds of harassment, imprisonment, torture, and so forth, which she really doesn't like talking too much about. But Pumla, you take as you take the stage, you join many who saved South Africa from state capture. It's our honor and privilege having you on the board of the Kathrada Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sean. Good evening. And I always forget to welcome you in my speech. So let me start by just welcoming all of you, because your coming here keeps this foundation alive. As Sean said, 2 years ago, when I was just retiring from the marathon of the public service, Sean didn't even waste 2 weeks into my leave. There was a call from Sean to say, we would like you to come and join the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation. And I was not quite sure whether I would like to agree or not, but I say, yeah. But I quickly went to their website, and I realized the work of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation is the work that all of us should be involved in. What the Ahmed Kathrada seeks to do, it seeks to honor the legacy of our liberation, of our struggle. The foundation seeks to have a voice in those who challenge the violation of our constitutional democracy. The foundation seeks to strengthen our democracy. The foundation seeks to reinforce our solidarity, international solidarity. And that is why you will find the voice of the Ahmed Kathrada in the fight for the liberation of the people of Palestine. That is why you will find the voice of the foundation in the reinforcement of peace initiatives by our government in the senseless wars in Sudan, in the DRC. And that is why you will find the voice of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation in the xenophobic tendencies that are beginning to creep in our country, making young people to forget that the economy of this country was through the labor of people in the neighboring countries that came to work in the mines. And that is why we all have a responsibility to protect this democracy that we have. And what is exciting with this foundation, we do this by making sure that we work with young people. You will find the youth clubs of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation in communities doing voter education. You will find our youth clubs doing a lot of civic education in as far as how to raise issues, that it is not okay to throw stones, but this is what you need to do. And that is what our young people are doing. You will find our young people celebrating the Women's Day, the Freedom Day, the Heritage Day. And that is what this foundation is about. So with those few words, I would like to welcome you and thank you for joining us, because this foundation is a foundation that this country needs when we are confronted with a lot of challenges of corruption in our country that threaten the very foundation of what Ahmed Kathrada was about. So with those few words, thank you very much, and I hope we enjoy the evening. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Pumla. Petukulu Pumuveneni is a Xhosa traditional artist who sings Mbaqanga. She sent me a message a few weeks ago to say that whenever next the foundation has as some kind of event, I would like to perform. Sent me a few of his clips. I liked the music. I didn't understand any of it. My staff assures me that it's about love. I hope they're right. If I'm wrong, please forgive me. Pumu Veneni, can you please come to the stage? Right, here they come. They will be back later. I want to now call up Kiara. A few weeks ago, I was at Tolstoy Farm, which is out there in the south of Joburg, which is where Gandhi's settlement is. And that's where passive resistors were trained from 1910 to 1913 Today, it is a heritage site, or hopefully will become a heritage site. And at Tolstoy Farm, we had unveiled a bust of a young passive resistor called Valiama Mudlia, as a 15-year-old who took part in the great 1913 strike and march, and who succumbed to her ailments that she had picked up. And at this function, there was the most wonderful Bharatanatyam dance, which is quite a complicated dance in Indian dance. And Kiara performed that at this event. And I thought that that would be a wonderful mix with what we have now just seen. Kiara?
Ta pe te yum ta tam kita ta ka ta pe te yum ta tam kita ta ka tam ne tam kita ta ka te ta pe kita ta ka tam ne tam kita ta ka te ta pe kita ta ka tam ne ta pe ta pe tam ne ta pe ta pe tam ne ta pe ta pe tam thế ta pe tất pe tổng thế ta đi tất đi 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 tổng thế tổng cái ta cái gì tất pe cái ta cái tổng thế tổng cái ta cái gì tất pe cái ta cái tổng ta tỷ tất tỷ tổng tất ta tỷ tất tỷ tổng tất ta tỷ tất tỷ tổng tất ta tỷ tất tỷ tổng thế 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 tổng cái ta cái gì tất tỷ cái ta cái tổng thế tổng cái ta cái gì tất tỷ cái ta cái tổng thế ta tỷ tất tỷ tổng thế ta tỷ tất tỷ tổng đất 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 ta tỷ tất tỷ ta sẽ chấm cái đó chấm cái check cái tỷ ta tình hình nó tụng ta cất ta tình hình nó tụng ta cất tích của ta đến cái nào tụng cộng thế guru ta cất 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 thế guru ta hay là những cái ta cất ta đến cái nào tụng ta để dùng ta tổng
Thank you, Kiara. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, starters will, or should have been served or will be served. Thank you. Enjoy that. You can clap if you want to. I hate to disturb you from the wonderful chicken that is on your table. But if I don't do it, sooner or later, you're going to start saying these guys are running well over time. Can I ask the program managers of the Kathrada Foundation to please come on stage? And as they come, Shahida, Jacques, people must see that shirt. So take the jacket off. Where is Shahida? Friends, let me just get your attention. On stage here are the people who really run or manage the different programs of the Kathrada Foundation. And on my right-hand side here is a young man called Jacques Bonner. Jacques is from Burundi. He is a refugee here. And Jacques pitched up at our office wanting to do volunteer work because of his issues with home affairs. He's not able to get into a tertiary institution, although he's got the necessary qualifications to do that. So we took Jacques in, and today I would say he's perhaps one of the most qualified, competent archivists that you will find in the country, but doesn't have the paper qualifications. Jacques, although not having been born in this country, can tell you stuff about the liberation history and more so about Ahmed Kathrada than perhaps anybody who was in prison with him or who shared much of his life can do, because he lives, breathes Kathrada's life through all of his archival work. Next to him, Shahida Sidat, our office manager for 17 years. Shahida, yes. Shahida really runs the AKF. She was a teacher, a qualified professional, and because she comes from an activist family, I was able to go to and say, you're going to stop teaching and you're going to come on to the foundation to help me start something that we don't know where it's going, but you're going to start. And she started this, she opened our offices in 2009. Next to her is Retabile Ratsomo. For some reason, Retabile, although is an LLB graduate, has chosen not to go into the legal profession because she thinks that her work has got greater impact. She heads up our anti-racism program in the Kathrada Foundation and does an incredible job on that. Now, there's two Madalas in the foundation. You can see who it is. And when we show you our 2026 calendar, you will see why some people think that in that calendar where Madiba is signing the new constitution, there's a chap next to him that many thinks is Rajesh Gupta. But it's in fact Yunus, who was the mayor of Lekoa Val at the time. Then Obakeng Khache, another qualified professional in the foundation, who heads up our youth activism and leadership program. And you'll hear from her just the kind of grassroots impact that they have been able to do and what some of the aspirations are as we move towards Uncle Kathy's centenary in 2029. Anele is perhaps the most nervous of all of the lot here today, but she is our communications manager. Another graduate professional that we managed to poach from NGO in the Western Cape to come and take on communications work. And Anele thought she's coming into a foundation where there's a big budget and lots of staff. Lo and behold, it's a department of one. But go and look at the work, and you will see the impact that one person can do. Each of them will talk to you about their work. Because one of the questions we get asked all over is, what does this foundation do? Why do you think you need our support? I want them to answer the question. But as they answer the question, and maybe we must remove this tree here because I think it's blocking the view. But this tree here, Abba, you will see is barren. Now I'm hoping that after they have spoken to you, there are leaves on your tables. And if you think that their work is worthy of support, you will indicate that by the numbers of zeros that you're going to put on those pledge forms. And you will come and put them up here so that this tree, as we move along, is no longer as barren as it is now that we have started. But don't do that now. Let them earn your trust. Let them earn your support. So, and you can time them. None of them goes over 8 minutes besides Yunus. He's been given a little bit of latitude. But Jacques will kick off. Jacques Bonner, over to you.
Good evening, friends. My name is Jacques Bonner. I am based in the Liberation History and Archives Department of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, and I am entrusted with the legacy and memory of Uncle Kathy. Let me take you through the journey of the archives.
The community of Lenasia is now home to an important new resource thanks to the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation's newly launched archival exhibition. This space is dedicated to preserving the history of South Africa's liberation struggle and the values of justice, equality, and non-racialism that Ahmed Kathrada exemplified. This vibrant archive is a treasure trove of historical documents and artifacts, including Kathrada's collection and documents from other struggle heroes. It serves as a vital repository of collective memory, providing valuable resources for researchers, activists, and the public. The Ahmed Kathrada Foundation's archival exhibition is located at 19 Guinea Fowl Street, Signet Terrace Office Park, Block B in Lenasia, and is now open for visits. Doors are open Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 3:30 p.m.
Our journey began with a large archive unit and base. This is where most of Mr. Kathrada's document related to liberation history is kept. The Ahmed Kathrada Foundation archives consist of Uncle Kathy's pre-prison documents, which take you through the life of young Uncle Kathy. We also have Uncle Kathy's personal correspondence as well as his study material while his time in prison. There is also his document from his time in office while he was still the advisor to Nelson Mandela. There is also his document from the time of office, and then the document ranges from Nelson Mandela artifacts, newspapers, books, publication, ephemeras, photo frames, awards, and paintings. Over the years, our mission was always to protect and preserve our historical records. Through the funding of the National Heritage Council, the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation New Archives Office was established and opened its doors to the public in July 2025. Since the opening of the archives, key activities include appraisal of the archives by Africa Media Online, newly donated flat-based scanners, and training on how to use the scanners. Key activities with the University of Northwest students have included a history tour on the newly opened archives offices, archiving theory knowledge, hands-on archiving skills, and tour of the permanent exhibition of Ahmed Kathrada at Cornhill. We are planning to digitize the archives in the next years to ensure that all Uncle Kathy documents kept in the archives is accessible to everyone who lives in South Africa for research purposes and for work with schools and universities. I would like to encourage each and every one of us to please visit the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation exhibition located at the Old Fort Constitutional Hill. Opening hours are from 8:45 a.m. and closes at 5 p.m. in the evening. Other sites of memory maintained include Site of Memory at West Park, Uncle Kathy exhibition at Cornhill, and the archives at the AKF office. Other historical sites that are of interest to the AKF and over which we keep some watch are Robben Island Museum, Lily's Leaf, Museum Africa, and Old Fort Constitutional Hill. The AKF approach to support work at Total Farm, possible involvement, Neil Agate to become a heritage site, Resistance Park in Durban, and Palace of Justice where the Rivonia trial took place. History site visits every year include Hector Peterson Grave and June 16 Memorial, Apartheid Museum, Shelville, and the grave sites of the leaders of the 1956 Women's March. We can only do this work through a general support, and we'd like everyone who has been supporting the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation archive since its opening. This includes the National Heritage Council, Cybergate, Northwest University, FC Tech, Nashua, and the Nelson Mandela Foundation. This initiative of promoting liberation history by digitizing all the material in the archives will ensure that we keep the legacy of Uncle Kathy alive for years to come. I thank you.
Good evening, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Ratshabile Ratsomo, the Anti-Racism Program Manager for the Foundation. And it really is a privilege to stand before you all, not only to gather to celebrate the work of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, but to also reaffirm a shared national commitment, the advancement of non-racialism. Advancing Non-Racialism is a program powered by young people, educators, activists, and communities who believe that South Africa can and must be better. The work we showcase tonight represents the daily effort of building a country where every person belongs. Our mission is simple, yet it remains profound even in 2025. To advance non-racialism in a country still healing, still rebuilding, and still striving. Tonight we share not only what we have done, but why this work matters and why your support is critical. Anti-Racism Week remains the heart of our program, and it's where the spark begins for most. Over the past 4 years, we have reached more than 40,000 learners through assemblies, school engagements, and dialogue that begins to shape how young people understand South Africa's racialized history and the legacies of apartheid that continue to persist today. We have further trained close to 500 young people utilizing our Igniting Your Power workbook. These moments ignite important conversation and plant seeds of awareness, courage, and responsibility in young people who are beginning to shape their identity and worldview. But Anti-Racism Week is not only for schools or young people. It also serves as a vital moment to engage broader South African society. creating a national conversation where communities, workplaces, institutions, and families are encouraged to have the hard discussions about race, inequality, justice, and transformation. These conversations are not easy, but they are necessary, and Anti-Racism Week provides a shared platform for the country to confront these issues openly and honestly. But awareness alone is not enough. This is why we invest intentionally in youth workshops that build leaders, not simply participants. Our youth workshops go beyond teaching about racism. They build leadership, empathy, and the courage to speak up to challenge the harmful behaviors we see in our society. Through these trainings, young people learn how to navigate and understand South Africa's racialized history, to lead dialogue and challenge injustice wherever they encounter it. The foundation is active in shaping future decision makers, creatives, thinkers, activists, and professionals who will influence institutions, other young people, and broader society to ensure that we continue to deepen non-racialism. One of our most exciting platforms is the national debate competition. What started as an idea has and will continue to become a national stage where young people debate issues of racism, inequality, transformation, and belonging. The debate competition offers young people an invaluable opportunity to gather research about South Africa's racialized past, and it challenges them to critically engage with that history, to understand the contemporary impact, and most importantly, to put forward informed, thoughtful solutions for tackling the ongoing scourge of racism and inequality in our country. We've seen teams from across South Africa engage with maturity and intellectual courage that demonstrates to us that young people are not only willing to lead, but have the ability to lead conversations, critical conversations about their future. We also create space for expression beyond debate. Through our national youth competition, we've received over 2,500 essays, poems, and artworks in the past 3 years alone. These creative works are honest and often deeply emotional, reflecting the lived experiences and aspirations and the everyday realities of young South Africans. They remind us that anti-racism work is not only policy work, it is cultural work, emotional work, and deeply personal work as well. But work we must continue to invest in to ensure that the youth of today are able to live in a future free from racism. Our commitment extends beyond youth spaces. The foundation continues to support members of the public facing racial discrimination, guiding them through remedies such as the South African Human Rights Commission complaints process and the Equality Court. We also run community service programs in conjunction with the South African Human Rights Commission with individuals who have been aggressors in racial conflicts, turning harmful incidents into opportunities for learning, reflection, and healing. Our commitment also extends into the global arena. The Ahmed Kathrada Foundation stands in solidarity with international struggles for justice, including our support for the Global Anti-Apartheid Conference and the Global Free Marwan Barghouti campaign. We further add our voice to global efforts against racism through our participation in UNESCO's Global Alliance on Racism and Discriminations. These efforts, I believe, reflect the Foundation's belief that the fight against racism and discrimination is both local and global, and that South Africa's moral leadership in these spaces continues to remain essential. Even though we might tell ourselves that racism ended in 1994, the youth of 2025 reminds us that it has not. It persists in institutions, workplaces, schools, communities, and everyday interactions. And that is why our work remains urgent. The anti-racism program is about transforming harm into learning, exclusion into belonging, and silence into meaningful, sustained action. We are building a South Africa where people do not merely coexist or tolerate, but genuinely connect, respect, and empower one another. As we work towards building a South Africa where everyone can thrive, it remains essential to recognize the enduring legacies of apartheid, legacies that are still deeply embedded in our economic structures, labor market, education system, and even in the physical geography of our cities. Addressing these realities requires that South Africans continue to strengthen programs of empowerment, affirmative action, and broader measures of redress. These are not merely policy debates, but necessary tools for correcting historical injustices and ensuring equality, freedom, and justice for all. The Kathrada Foundation remains steadfast in its commitment to work alongside organizations such as Beter Enders and Dialogue for Action, some of who are with us in the audience today. In recent times, we have seen two opposing narratives emerge, one drawing attention to the urgent injustices that persist in our society, and the other resisting the efforts required to remedy them. Through education, advocacy, public engagement, accountability process, and the promotion of policies that advance justice and non-racialism, we continue to build the South African vision by our Constitution. And tonight, we ask you for your continued partnership as we expand this work, deepen our impact, and reach even more communities and young people. Dedicate your time, your expertise, your connections, or your money to help us build the South Africa that Ahmed Kathrada dreamed of, a South Africa where we all truly belong. Thank you.
Good evening. Sean has already introduced me. I'm Yunus Chamda. I am the coordinator of the Joburg Crisis Alliance. The Joburg Crisis Alliance is a project within the Strengthening and Defending Democracy focus area of work in the Kathrada Foundation. To share with you tonight how the JCA emerged and what it has done this year, we have prepared a short video clip, just under 7 minutes. Play the clip, please.
The 5th of May, 2023, the City Council of Johannesburg elects its 9th mayor within 8 years. This appalling development is as a result of the coalition chaos that grips the politics of the City Council. The coalition instability prompts the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation to convene a public meeting on the 7th of July, 2023, so as to hear the views of Joburg residents on the impact that the coalition instability has on service delivery. In mid-2023, a widespread water crisis had hit many parts of Joburg. At the same time, events such as the Bree Street explosion and the Usindizo fire leave summit attendees with only one conclusion: the city is in a crisis. Thus, the Joburg Crisis Alliance emerged. Several other organizations have joined the JCA as partners and as support organizations. The JCA is an alliance of civil society organizations and Joburg residents who are committed to active citizenry, calling for accountability and transparency. Summits 2 and 3 in October and November 2023 resolved to write to the President calling for intervention in the governance of the city. A collapsing Joburg would be a national catastrophe. The presidential intervention did eventually happen. In March of this year, the President established the Presidential Johannesburg Working Group. The JCA was invited as one of 2 civil society organizations to make a presentation to the President and, subsequently, to participate in the work streams of the PJWG. This year, the JCA convened its 5th, 6th, and 7th summits. The JCA summits have been broadly representative of residents and community organizations from across the city, from Deep Sloat in the north to Finetown in the south, from Ivory Park in the east to Florida in the west. The summits have been well attended and always interactive. A week from now, the JCA will convene its 8th summit. It is from these summits that the 5 campaigns of the JCA have organically emerged. These are ethical and competent leadership, Save Joburg, End Corruption, Civic Activism, and Reimagining Joburg. The Save Joburg campaign focuses on basic service delivery, and from the very first summit in July 2023, the issues of water security has been a growing concern. The JCA, with its partners WaterCan and others, has consistently engaged the city on the issue. The JCA has, from its inception, adopted the principle of engagement first. Yet, when the city is lethargic and unresponsive, then protest is a valid and legitimate means of drawing attention to an issue. When engagement with the city did not yield meaningful changes to address the water crisis, on the 1st of November this year, the JCA, along with numerous other organizations, mobilized a large protest at the Metro Center to present a list of demands to the mayor. The principle of engaging first and protesting when engagements fail was applied to draw attention to the 3-year closure of the Joburg City Library. The protest in May 20th, 2024 eventually led to the Joburg Library reopening fully on 9th August this year. The library's campaign is not over yet. Several branch libraries across the city remain closed for various reasons. Civic activists have come together to campaign for the reopening of these community libraries. The campaign to reopen the Louisa Prince Library in Ennerdale has gathered significant momentum. The library campaign is also championing the call to have libraries in the city open on Saturdays. The JCA believes that civic activism is the best long-term investment that residents can make in holding the city accountable. On 24th May 2025, the JCA launched its Civic Saturdays campaign, which encourages communities to organize a wide range of activities. A growing number of communities are actively fixing things, doing civic education work, recording the community histories, adopting parks and green spaces, and protecting dams and streams. The possibilities are endless. Next week at Summit 8, working with residents, the JCA will begin crafting a civil society charter in the build-up to the next local government elections. Unless the next incoming council is committed to ethical and competent leadership and provision of basic services to all its residents, and is committed to transparency and accountability, the crisis will not end. With increased support from the Social Justice Initiative, the JCA will step up its activities in 2026 and get Joburgers to reimagine a Joburg that is fixed and functional. Keep in touch with the JCA at www.jca.org.za and sign up to its free membership. The Joburg Crisis Alliance, holding the city accountable.
I trust that gave you a quick snapshot of the work of the Joburg Crisis Alliance. Now, before I leave you, I have one more task to perform, and I'm going to need a bit of assistance. So I'm going to call on Nokolo Ntaka from the Social Justice Initiative to please come up so she can assist me with this task. Nokolo, thank you. Now, in the course of the work of the Joburg Crisis Alliance, we continuously hear about Joburg residents doing incredible volunteer work to better their neighborhoods. And whenever we reach out and visit these initiatives, we are so inspired by what people are doing in Joburg to fix Joburg. And I can tell you, we could fill the stage, we could fill this hall, for that matter, with the individuals that we come across who deserve to be recognized for what they are doing. But we kept hearing about a local community organization in Ward 101 in Region C called Community Heroes. And they were doing great work up in the Randburg-Bosgrain area. And when we went to visit this area, the one thing that we were struck by was there was one name that just seemed to come up all the time. And so when we were there on the 28th of June, we had the opportunity to come across this really inspiring individual who has got boundless energy and enthusiasm to do community work. And so it's my pleasure to recognize the commitment of this individual, and it is my pleasure to ask Notolo to hand over the very first award of the AKF JCA Civic Activism Award, and I'd like to call on Nikki Bart. Thank you. Well deserved.
Thank you.
We're just going to break the presentations with a item from Mika again. Mika, over to you.
Okay, we taking it back to the old school. Do we have any Elvis Presley fans in the house? Okay, this one's for you. The one threw a party in the county jail. The prison man was there and they began to wail. The band was jumping and the drum began to sing. You should have heard this knocked out jailbird sing. Let's rock, everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the whole cell block was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Spider Murphy played the tenor saxophone. Lil Joe was blowing on the slide trombone. The drummer boy from Illinois from Crash Boom Bang. The whole prison section was a purple gang. Let's rock, everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the whole cell block was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Number 47 said to number 3, you're the cutest jailbird I ever did see. I sure will be delighted with your company. Come on and do the jailhouse rock with me. Let's rock, everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the whole cell block was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Come on, put your hands in the air, clap your hands. Sad sack was sitting on a block of stone. Way over in the corner, weeping all alone. The warden said, hey buddy, don't you be no square. If you can't find a partner, use a wooden chair. Let's rock, everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the whole cell block was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Shifty Henry said the bucks for heaven's sake. The ones looking now's a chance to make a break. Bugs attended Shifty and he said nix nix. I wanna stick around a while and get my kicks. Let's rock, everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the whole cell block was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Dancing to the jailhouse rock. Come on, dancing to the jailhouse rock. Dancing to the jailhouse rock. Ooh yeah, dancing to the jailhouse rock. 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 Everybody give it up for this amazing lady over here. Thank you.
Dumelang. We say Ache, Dumelang. Thank you. It is an honor to stand here representing the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation's Youth Activism Program, a program dedicated to igniting the power of our youth in shaping a better society. It is in his letter to youth that Ahmed Kathrada reminds us to always remember that the cause of freedom is just and invisible. There is no such thing as defeat in our world. History has shown us that no struggle for justice was ever won in boardrooms or conference tables alone. It is through the courage and resilience of youth on the ground that real change is born. Our work embodies the spirit, empowering young leaders to take the main brunt of the struggle for freedom and human rights. Our day-to-day work is rooted in over 54 communities. across Gauteng with a membership of 2,790 youth club members on our database. From Tshwane, yes, please, thank you. From Tshwane, Mogale City, Johannesburg to Ekurhuleni and Sidibeng, our youth club members are vibrant hubs of change where young people collaborate on grassroots activism. Together, we foster leadership that is rooted in community and driven by the passion to make a tangible change. Through our grassroots activism, we have witnessed young people leading powerful campaigns for rights and dignity, demanding respect and safety, and lifting their voices through well-organized community action. It is in this regard that we partnered with the Innovation Foundation for Democracy to launch 50 microgrants to empower young people with the necessary resources for community campaigns. Our commitment to strengthening democracy is unwavering. In 2024, with the support of Defend Our Democracy, we registered 192 youth election observers. And we call on you to join us in doubling this number for the upcoming elections, to promote transparency and fairness because we know that our country needs an honest and accountable government. Furthermore, our civic education workshops and community dialogues have empowered over 2,000 young people across 40 communities in 2025 alone, with the knowledge they need to actively participate in democracy. Now, leadership development remains central to our mission. Our annual leadership camps and summits nurture critical skills, teamwork, and the spirit of collaboration, building a generation ready to lead with integrity and purpose. We also champion ethical leadership through youth-led anti-corruption initiatives, including the National Youth Anti-Corruption Conference that we held in December 2024, where we made impactful recommendations to the National Anti-Corruption Advisory Committee, which later featured these recommendations in their final report to the President of the country. Through our partnership with GIZ, we confront corruption openly in our communities, demanding accountability and transparency for all. Our program extends to community dialogues on pressing issues, on pressing issues like healthcare access in Katlehong, and extends to powerful community screenings such as the documentary on Babita Diokran, a stark reminder of the sacrifices made by those who fight for justice. But our impact goes beyond activism. We have worked with the Billy and Elsie Nair Education Trust to provide academic support in the lowly Tutolefa Secondary School and Orange Farm Xhoxa Secondary School to just over 500 learners who are in need of academic support. We are grateful to the Young African Entrepreneurs Institution, LandMed, and others for working with us to expose our youth to critical skills development opportunities that equip youth with the tools needed for success in all areas of their lives. We also stand with over 100 organizations in the National Youth Coalition, uniting for collective power of youth action. The work of expanding Ahmed Kathrada's legacy lies in your hands here today, and others who might be listening elsewhere. Because we aim by 2029 to establish 100 youth clubs, and hopefully more than that across the country. Youth clubs that will nurture a generation of ethical leaders, leaders who are not just dreamers but doers, committed to sustainable change, social justice, and community empowerment. Indeed, as Arthur Ashe said, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. This is the call we answer to every day at the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation. Because change starts with you, and change starts now. Through your support, every neighborhood becomes an organizing opportunity, each individual a potential activist, and every issue a chance to reshape the world. Join us in igniting this power, in shaping a responsible future, and in advancing the legacy of courage, commitment, and justice that Ahmed Kathrada stood for. Ke a leboga. But I'm not done. I have a lot of things to say today. So as mentioned earlier, the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation's Youth Activism and Leadership Program is rooted in community work. And earlier this year, our Beggersdal Youth Club took on a very important campaign, access to clean drinking water that is reliable and sufficient. This happened during the time when we were doing a lot of workshops with organizations like Corruption Watch and of course by the support of GIZ. These young people rallied up a strong base of organizations in and around Beggersdal to do door-to-door surveys, media statements, and community dialogues. Now you might wonder why they're doing this. This is after they worked with WaterCan to do water tests that revealed that the water in Beggersdal is not safe to drink. We have joined them in conversations with the municipality to demand a boil water notice until the people of Beggersdal have access to reliable and sufficient clean drinking water. At this moment, I would like to call on the club leaders to receive on stage their applause from you, which I hope will be very loud, our audience, and volleyball equipment for them to use in their community, because young people deserve to have fun and connect through other ways besides in protest for basic service delivery, which we shouldn't be doing in the first place. The Youth Activism program will now come on stage to hand over the volleyball material to the Beggersdal Youth Club members. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. B is right, I am nervous, but it is wonderful to be here, and it's even more meaningful to be here with people who care about truth, justice, and the future of our democracy. When I look back at 2025, what stands out most is that our work has always been rooted in honesty, even when that honesty was uncomfortable. This year, we continued to call out racism and corruption wherever they surfaced. We challenged institutions, defended young people in schools, and confronted harmful narratives. We often stood alongside other civil society organizations to do exactly that, including in the case of the University of Fort Hare, where more than 30 organizations in the Eastern Cape and over 140 organizations and individuals nationally united to call for this historic institution to be safeguarded and for democratic values to be restored and upheld. And just as we spoke out in moments of clarity, of requiring clarity, we also acknowledge progress, because accountability is not only about exposing wrongdoing, but also about uplifting what moves us forward. We welcome President Ramaphosa's announcement of the National Dialogue as a necessary step towards rebuilding our democracy. We further welcome the release of the Special Investigative Unit's interim report on Tembisa Hospital, which confirmed large-scale theft of public funds. This was an important step towards accountability in the public healthcare sector. Our commitment to strengthening democracy didn't end with statements. This year, we brought leaders directly into public conversation. From our annual lecture with Zane Danger and Prof. Ashil Mbembe, to two powerful business breakfast sessions, one with Deputy President Paul Mashadile and another with SARS Commissioner Edward Kisvetter. We created platforms where difficult questions could be asked and answered. These were moments where democracy was not just spoken about, but practiced. This spirit of courage carried us into our Women of Fortitude walk, honoring the brave women who marched into the union buildings against past laws. Some of their names live on our website, but if you know of others who have not yet been recognized, we would be honored to add them to the list. One of the most moving moments this year was our health symposium addressing corruption in Gauteng's healthcare system. And shortly after, we gathered outside Babita Diokaran's home, another brave woman who was murdered for confronting corruption. Standing with her family and community reminded us why our work matters, why truth matters, why integrity matters. As we defended the present, we also honored the past. One of the highlights of 2025 was celebrating the 90th birthday of veteran freedom fighter Mek Maharaj. What made this milestone even more extraordinary was the intergenerational dialogue he gifted us with. Our youth had the rare opportunity to sit at Mr. Maharaj's feet, to learn directly from a Robben Island prisoner, to hear history from the voice of someone who lived it. These moments shape activists, they shape movements, they shape futures. That is why at the foundation, we never apologize for remembering. This year, we marked 50 years since the passing of Bram Fischer. On that day, we shared a letter Uncle Kathy wrote from prison to Bram Fischer's daughters, a letter that now lives on our website. We celebrate Dr. Titi Sholo on turning 100. He himself spent 16 years on Robben Island in the struggle for democracy. These lives, these stories, these legacies remind us that democracy was earned through sacrifice and must be protected through constant vigilance. Our vigilance extends beyond our borders. Our stance remains clear on the Palestinian struggle is our struggle. We also speak out as democracy collapses in Tunisia. We stand in solidarity with the International Committee for Solidarity with Rashid Ghannouchi, calling for the release of Sheikh Ghannouchi, because global solidarity is a responsibility. Our solidarity is strengthened through partnership. We are proud to be an active member of Defend Our Democracy, which is now an organization that fully stands on its own after being incubated by the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation for a while. Even within our offices, democracy is alive. Our board members spend time with our youth, not in boardrooms, but on the ground. Ms. Zelda Legrange visited the Lenasia Library, giving her time and her story to young people. Ms. Catherine Constantinides invited us to join her in Pimville on Mandela Day, where we donated blankets, meals, and simple acts of kindness that spread dignity and warmth. Umam Williams is always on the ground and has been consistently active in the JCA Civic Saturday initiatives, saving Joburg one weekend at a time. Mr. Derek Hanekom joined the Beckerstal Youth Club to test water quality in their community. That experience and his reflections are documented on our website. We are equally proud of our former board member, Firoz Kashalia, who was appointed this year as acting Minister of Police. These moments show that activism is not abstract. It is practical, it is community-driven, it is here, it is now. As we reflect, we must acknowledge the profound truth that activism is a team sport. One young activist said it perfectly: the future of activism lies in collaboration. But this isn't new. Our entire liberation struggle was built on collaboration. The Freedom Charter was born from the unity of the Congress Alliance, the ANC, the SAIC, COD, SACPO, and SACTU. Ordinary people came together across race, class, and geography to imagine a different South Africa. And because they collaborated, we became free. This history guides us today. It is why we invest in storytelling, in archiving, in design, in digital campaigns. It is why we use our website as a living repository, home to statements, newsletters, calendars, and stories often forgotten. As we look towards 2026, the beginning of our journey into Uncle Kathy's centenary in 2029, I want to end with an invitation to everyone in this room and to everyone joining online. Connect with us on social media, where in 2025, we reached more than 313,000 people on X, 490,000 people on Facebook, and 92,000 people on Instagram. Sign up for our monthly newsletter, received by 30,000 subscribers every month. Join an AKF project or initiative near you. Download our latest annual report, which tells the full story of our work in 2024. And to members of the media, I want to say, my friends, your role has never been more important. Help us to amplify these stories of courage. Help us to hold our leaders accountable. Help us to keep our democracy alive. Walk with us into 2026. Thank you.
So I hope that's given you just a sense of what this foundation does. This is by no means all of it. These are just highlights. If you want more, please talk to any one of these managers during the main meal and afterwards, or contact the foundation at any time. If there's any way that you can link up with any of our areas of work, whether it's research, policy, fundraising, marketing, digital campaigning, whatever it is, we need that kind of help. Don't be fooled by the fact that we are meeting at this convention center. This is not stuff that we can really afford. If it were not for the generous donations and the sponsorship of the venue to a large extent. Likewise with the meals. The caterer here has not increased his price for the last 5 years, and I hope he won't for the next 5 years as well. So we can only do this thing that looks so grand because we think your support is deserving of that. And likewise, we hope that at the end of today, you will think that this foundation is deserving of your support when you make your pledges in kind as well as in cash. I'm often asked, what happens if you need to leave the foundation, which will happen. Fortunately, government has extended the retirement age to 67. So I have 4 more years. So I can go on a little bit more. But I'm hoping you've seen that there are any of these young people here who can fill in tomorrow. Now, I know that the other big replacement in the country people are thinking about is the SARS commissioner. But when we get to that later on, maybe we'll get some insights, and there's been some recommendations that we will share with you in that regard. I want to just close before you get all of the rest of the food, and I hope there's more space on the table for what's to come, to ask the groups, Pumaveni, who will then be followed up with the Indian dance item, to take you into the main meal. Once more, thanks to the staff, the management staff of the AKF. Thanks to all of you. You can take your chairs and go now. Yeah. Just put it on the side.
lendwesenzayo ngoba njalo nje kandinawe moya wami uyonakala ngoba njalo nje kandinawe moya wami uyonakala ngicela sithi cha lendwesenzayo
And to close off, Kiara will do one more performance for you.
Sanuta pada kin kini jam jam kadavana muni jana sakala sura sura sanuta pada Sta Jaya 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 Sashirabhibhushan Rupa Bhayankara Damaruga Hasta Diviya Sagasa Dikshita Raga Natesha Kautuvam Tagadam Tigadai Taku Diku Takita Tum Kida Kida Tagadam Tagadam Tigadai Taku Diku Takita Tum Kida Kida Tagadam
We hope you will enjoy the main course now. And thereafter, the big events for the evening will start once you have finished everything that's on your table. Thank you.
hypnotic, oh, I'm mesmerized. Your gaze is so hypnotic, oh, I'm mesmerized. Your gaze is so.
Testing 1, 2. I want you to stay till I'm in the grave, till I rot away, dead and buried, till I'm in the casket you carry. If you go, I'm going too, 'cause it was always you. If I'm turning blue, please don't save me. Nothing left to lose without my baby. Birds of a feather, we should stick together. I know I said I'd never think I wasn't better alone. Can't change the weather, might not be forever, but if it's forever, it's even all get it. कितनी हंसी के इनका आशिक ये बन गया ओ, मुझको बसा ले इनमें तू Loving can hurt sometimes, but it's the only thing that I know. When it gets hard, you know it can get hard sometimes, but it's the only thing that makes us feel alive. We keep this love in a photograph. We made these memories for ourselves, where our eyes are never closing, hearts are never broken, time's forever frozen still. So you can keep me inside the pocket of your ripped jeans, holding me close until our eyes meet. You won't ever be alone. Wait for me to come home. Loving can heal, loving can mend your soul, but it's the only thing that I know. I say it will get easier. Remember that with every piece of you, and it's the only thing we take with us when we die. We keep this love in a photograph. We keep these memories for ourselves, where our eyes are never closing, hearts are never broken, time's forever frozen still. So you can keep inside the pocket of your ripped jeans, holding me close until our eyes meet. You won't ever be alone. And if you hurt me, that's okay, baby. Only words bleed inside these pages. You just hold me. I won't ever let you go. Wait for me to come home. 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 And you can feel me inside the necklace you got when you were 16. Next to your heartbeat where I should be. Keep it deep within your soul. And if you hurt me, that's okay, baby. Only words bleed inside these pages. You just hold me. I won't ever let you go. When I'm away, I will remember how you kissed me under the lamppost back on 6th Street, hearing you whisper through the phone. Wait for me to come home. Thank you.
Shadows dance beneath the moon. Feet
My apologies. My apologies that I'm going to disrupt your table conversations. Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? Obakeng, thank you. Thank you. Okay, we want to get started with the highlights of today's program that we're now building up towards. But just before we get to that, two very small things. 2029 will be the centenary of Ahmed Kathrada's birth. And we think that it's important to start building up to that centenary and not leave it to 2029. Because in 2029, there's another election. And we don't want to get caught up with competing with the election, and it's too late to do anything meaningful. So I don't know if just my stuff is ready. Okay. Just very quickly, and here is where we really need many of you to come on board. We want your ideas, we want your thoughts, we want your help. We want to ensure that there is a greater national awareness of Ahmed Kathrada, of his values, his contribution, and the idea of a non-racial South Africa, most importantly, within this 4 years. We also want to ignite activism, and we want to ask each and every one of you to think about what kind of activism can you do on your own, as a family, in your street, in your neighborhood, in the name of Uncle Kathy, to make that area, that street, that community better as we build up to 2029 as part of the centenary program. We also want to organize over the next 4 years celebratory and reflective events. We want to celebrate his life, but not only the life that many of you know, but there's unknown parts that we are discovering that we need to celebrate. We also want people to reflect on his life in depth. So Abba, you know, we have an archive that we hope Mistra will come and look at. Uncle Kathy's role as an advisor to Mandela. People just say, well, he was an advisor. They don't know what he actually advised on. Was it good advice? Was it bad advice? We don't know. But we need that evaluated. We want to collect all the material. There are thousands of people who took selfies with him. We want those selfies. We want you to share them with us. Especially after he wrote his letter to Zuma, I can tell you every airport that I was with him, there were long, long queues. We'd like to get those selfies. We want to get the memories, the emails. Uncle Kathy was a prolific email correspondent with people across the world. We want you to share those things, and we will make all of this clearer in the weeks. But I suppose the most important thing, this foundation needs long-term sustainability, and we'll end off on that. So there's some big ideas that we have. We're already on the road to digitizing a lot of our material, and that we've spoken about. There are 2 books that 2 people have started working on. One, Melissa Levine from the University of Toronto, former South African, is writing a book on Kathrada's activism before getting, and how he ends up in Robben Island. Because we just think that, he was found at Lily's Leaf. What is not known that for the better part of the banned period of the Communist Party, he was a major role player. He also happened to be the key organizer of the Communist Party, which why he gets arrested at Lily's Leaf. But Kathy, like others, shied away from their membership of the Communist Party after 1990 for good or bad reasons, but we don't know the work that is involved. Nadira Umerji, another academic, and Andre Odendaal will be contacting a whole lot of you here and outside to write your reflections on Kathrada's centenary. And we want you to go beyond just the fluffy stuff. But we're also looking at a traveling exhibition, and I see Video Vision. I thought Nilesh was going to be here, but there was somebody else. I don't see them anymore here. Oh, no, they are here. We think Kathrada deserves a movie, you know. And if you think so, applaud. So it can be done. There's funding available for these things, but somebody has to write a script and do the hard work. We want to do a liberation history quiz and importantly for the next 4 years, nation-building dialogues. Our country has so different views on our past. You've just seen it in the different billboards. That I think we do need a common sense of history. And that common sense of history is a common understanding of our past. It can't be that we think that life before 1948 was all rosy. As bad as things are, they are not as bad as they were pre-1990. But that is something we have to grapple with. We've already spoken by 29, we'll have 100 youth clubs, if not more. We will look at a range of activations in the name of the centenary. Today we launched the first activation for the Kathrada centenary year, and that was the campaign for the release of Marwan Barghouti and all Palestinian political prisoners. We launched this at the Union Buildings, at the statue of Nelson Mandela. Today is the International Day of Solidarity. And over the next few days, you will see this as a global campaign. We're also launching today is an award which we call the Kathy. Now, we're not very original because George Clooney introduced what is called the LB after LB6. So we thought we'll do the Kathy. But we don't have the same prize money that goes with the Kathy, with the LB. But we're starting it. And this is the two key activations. The third activation for this centenary is a Gauteng Health Anti-Corruption Forum that we've already done the preliminary work in memory of Babita Deokaran. So that's 3 things that we're already going to do for this centenary. What we want all of you to do here are activations by your institutions, your organizations. We will get the guidelines for this and the platform. So what we're thinking is every university that has given him an honorary degree, beyond the honorary degree, what more? There is the Ahmed Kathrada Private Hospital. Beyond calling it the Ahmed Kathrada Private Hospital, what more can they do? Can they do 100 community outreach clinics up to 2029? Because that would be meaningful. Robben Island has to do something similar. Schweizer-Reneke, Kathy's birthplace, there's something major has to happen. And we will talk to the deputy minister in the presidency who comes from there, and Kathy's family who is still out there. But there are some big historical milestones. 2026 is the 80th anniversary of the passive resistance campaign. There is a resistance park in Durban that we are working with Sastry College and others to see how that thing gets revamped. 2027 will be the 80th anniversary of the Doctors' Pact. That's the pact between the Indian Congresses and the African National Congress. It's an important part of the unity of our people in this country. 2028 is really something we must think about. It's the 80th anniversary of the establishment of the apartheid state. Now, there are some people who think that that was glorious. But I think it's a point that in that year we must talk about this thing in all the frankness that is required. And then 2029. I didn't put elections there, but it's the centenary year. So, what do we need? To do the work that we do and that we need to do, we need to become like an organization that many of you would not associate the foundation with, but it's AfriForum. AfriForum today is the best organized civil society organization on this continent, if not on the planet. They have 300,000 households who give them a monthly contribution. 300,000 and growing. Which is why they can employ 300 full-time staff. Which is why they could put up a new university for 30,000 people on budget and on time. Which is why they can do a whole range of things. Much of it not for the good of the country. But we would want to get close to AfriForum with your support to do the work that is for the good of the country, and you've seen some of that. But this foundation needs an endowment. 17 years that we've been in existence, I don't know what next year will hold. I don't know whether we will keep our doors open. This banquet helps, doesn't help entirely. You know, we used to do a golf day. That golf day was a huge success. Then Ahmed Kathrada writes to Zuma, and he says, resign. Every one of the sponsors of that golf day pulled away, didn't want to be associated with us. For this banquet, half of the tables here, we've had to almost ask other people to fill in. Major institutions were saying to us they cannot support foundations named after liberation struggle heroes. So I said, well, what does that mean? I said, no, we can't do it. And for some, we are too Palestine. For others, we are too little Palestine. For some, we are anti-Jewish. And for some, we are pro-Jewish. Where they get it from, I don't know. It makes raising money to do the work that you've heard about incredibly difficult. Those of you who can help, we will ask some of you to help become the patrons of this endowment and help us get it set up. If this foundation has an endowment of 100 million, it has fixed income for the rest of its life. It can do the work that this country needs it to do. So that's the centenary work. You will see our WhatsApp number. If you think you can contribute, if you think you have ideas, if you think you know people who know people who know people who have money, let us open the doors for us, and we will go and make our pitch. But on your tables, there are little green leaves, right? I'd like you to think about putting something on those leaves, and they will get put on to that barren tree that's there. Help us make sure that that tree, by the time that you leave, is filled with significant, leaves that are really going to be heavy. It must drag this tree down. Lastly, there are 2 items on auction out there. One is a science, it's a 1995 Springbok rugby shirt, authenticated. We're not going to do the auction, but if you want to bid, you can put your bid in there. The second is a signed glove by Muhammad Ali. You can put your bids in there. There are reserve prices. If we don't get the reserve price, we take it and we'll figure out what else we can do with it. Anybody that gets above the reserve price, you walk away with it here tonight. So that's what we need from you here. We need your help. We need your money. We need your know-how of people who have money. We need your skills, we need marketing skills, we need just a whole range of things here. I know that I'm sounding like some poor organization, which we are in the Sandton Convention Center. So I want to just call up a young woman that today, whereas we gathered at the statue of Madiba to launch this campaign for Marwan Barghouti, delivered the most remarkable poem that she wrote last night. Lindy, where are you here? And as she comes up, there will be others who will just show you what that campaign poster looks like. Lindy? Is it a dramatic entrance? I can't see that side of the stage. There she comes, there she comes. Now, this was written last night, so just keep that in mind. Over to you.
I stand here with my eyes telling 1,000 stories about a land, my mind thinking about humanity, my hands longing to offer warmth to humans, with my mouth containing over thousands questions. Like, what if? What if it was you running, carrying a child while dodging a gun? What if your house was turned to dust, your father gone, and your world would unjust? What if? You think the world is blind, but you can't even open your eyes or even take a stand. Can you hear the children's cries, or can you see the bombs that are raining from the skies? Oh no, I know. You can, but you just choose to justify their crimes. Another question, what if? What if the news just called it a war? When they bombed your bed and broke down your door? What if your name was never called, but put out as numbers next to civilians dead? What if? Just another question yet again. What if the blood in your veins was Palestine? You would know how it feels to face the end of a gun, waking up to sounds of an explosion of a bomb and sitting out in the ruins of a place that you once called a home, praying to God for them to leave you alone. What if? I would scream and I would cry for that one peaceful day, for I will not sit and stay and watch another child being put in a grave. I will not. Yet another question, what if? What if the world just watched you fall and not at all even once said this is wrong at all? What if? What if my fate was bound to be doomed? What if I was in their shoes? What if? You do not have to own a gun to stand for those who have none. You just need a heart that sees and a mind that seeks and dares to speak when others freeze. What if?
It's just incredible stuff. Thanks, Lindiwe. So Marwan is serving 5 life sentences, plus I think maybe 15 or 20 years. Just in case he outlives the 5 life sentences, there's the additional few years. But is considered to be the equivalent of Mandela in Palestine. Not that they have a de Klerk that side, but at least they have somebody that comes close to Mandela in the kind of unifying work that is possible should he be released. You've heard Trump allude to it. We are told that he was on top of the list of prisoners to be released. Netanyahu scuttled it at the very last minute. Ahmed Kathrada launched the first campaign for his release in 2013 in the cell of Nelson Mandela. That campaign is now being resuscitated, and hence you've seen this here today and across the world. A few years ago, Ahmed Kathrada received the Asian Award in the UK. I want you to just watch the clip because it's some visuals that has never been shared in the country, but it's also wonderful hearing him once again. Can we get the clip, please?
The Founders Award was created quite simply because exceptional individuals deserve an exceptional tribute. Once again this year, it's been my arduous yet rewarding task to choose someone who's thoroughly deserving of this accolade. The only criteria to my decision is that the Founders Award is presented only where there's a compelling and clear, irrefutable justification for that choice. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is certainly the case with our recipient tonight. I'm sure previous winners won't mind me saying, and those people who will continue to take awards tonight won't mind me saying, that I believe this is the greatest honor this stage has ever given. And that brings with it a couple of challenges. First of all, I feel slightly insignificant to be handing this award out, and I don't feel quite well qualified to be giving this award. So who does the job instead? And that list was a very difficult task to go through. As I considered suitable candidates, I was sure of one thing: whoever makes the presentation had to be someone who had studied the winner, who understood him, the sacrifices that he had made, the love that he had shown, and the incredible, and I mean incredible, journey he has taken. So to make the presentation, I'd like to welcome someone who had a very unique opportunity to tell the remarkable story of this man and all those around him to the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the star of Mandela Long Walk to Freedom, Hollywood actor Idris Elba.
Good evening, how are you? Have you seen Paul's shoes? I mean, me and you have to wrestle for them shoes, Paul. I did a film called Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. Thank you. And in this film, there is a young actor called Rihad Musa. He's a young comedian from South Africa, and he played the almighty great man Ahmed Kathrada in my film. Now, part of my ignorance, but I didn't know much of Rihad's work, and when I met him, I said, a comedian, always cracking jokes. Ha, ha, ha. I said, okay, Rihad, that's great, you're very funny. I said, but you know, what's Ahmed gonna think when his portrayal is played by a comedian? And then I met Ahmed Kathrada. Very funny man. First thing he said to me when I met him, he looked me up and down and he said, well, at least they got an actor that looks just like Madiba. Very funny man. I'm so honored and humbled to present the prestigious award to the former political activist who spent 28 years in prison for upholding his beliefs. 28 years for his beliefs. That does deserve a round of applause. And then when he went home, became a driving force in South African politics.
From a young age, the winner of this Founders Award witnessed firsthand the racism and discrimination that overwhelmed South Africa. Just 17, he took part in the passive resistance campaign of the South African Indian Congress and was one of 2,000 people imprisoned for defying a law that discriminated against Indians. In 1955, he helped organize a multiracial Congress of the People and its Freedom Charter. Then in 1963, his involvement in the anti-apartheid activities of the African National Congress saw him charged with attempting to overthrow the government by violent means. At the Rivonia trial which followed, he was found guilty together with Nelson Mandela and 7 others. He spent 26 years in prison. 5 years after his release in 1989, he was elected to Parliament to serve as President Mandela's parliamentary councillor. Last year, he made the key moving address at his friend Madiba's funeral. Without doubt, this Founders Award goes to the greatest ever living recipient.
The recipient of the 2014 Founders Award goes to Ahmed Kathrada.
In the first all-inclusive democratic South African elections in 1994, Ahmed Kathrada was elected as a Member of Parliament for the ANC and appointed as a political advisor to President Mandela in the newly created post of Parliamentary Councillor. In addition to receiving the ANC's highest possible accolade while still in prison, he's also been awarded 4 honorary doctorates and the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman by the Ministry of Overseas Indian Affairs.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is not an evening for speeches. I just want to thank you very, very much, the organizers of this event, and those who have gone out of the way to get us here by air and have been looking after us so well. So thank you very, very much. I don't think I've done much to deserve this. So with the permission of the organizers, I would like to dedicate this award to those of our comrades who did not live to see freedom. And I want to name one person in particular with whom I grew up, literally. A person by the name of Ruth Slovo. She was a professor in Mozambique, and she received a package from the United Nations. And innocently, she opened the package. It was a bomb, and it killed her. And there are many, many such people who lost their lives, tortured to death, assassinated, hanged, who did not live to see freedom. So I dedicate this award to all those who did not live to see freedom. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Founders Award, Ahmed Kathrada.
That was special. Was special also because of the brevity of the acceptance speech, which I'm hoping the people who are going to come up will emulate. You've seen Uncle Kathy there, and there's this beautiful woman next to him. Fortunately, he had the trophy. When we were in Palestine, at a meeting of all the ex-political prisoners, a whole lot of women came to the side of him. Now, because at the Gandhi Walk every year they have all the Miss Worlds and Miss South Africa and this, that, and he's used to just hugging. Standing here in Ramallah, he puts his hands around these women, and very nicely they just hit him like that and say, hey, put that away. We almost had an international incident there, but fortunately that was not recorded. So, we want to award today two exceptional South Africans who have really saved this country. How much, I think we will discover in the future. But to talk a bit about courage and service and why this kind of recognition is important, I want to call on the General Secretary of the South African Council of Churches, Reverend Molo, to come and talk about these things and to talk about the two recipients. Reverend Molo and the South African Council of Churches played an immeasurable role in ensuring that South Africa understood what was state capture, what needed to be done to galvanize against it, and to continuously build in the faith communities and beyond the required resistance towards its ongoing nature in our country. Reverend Molo, thank you. I see you got a whole long speech here. All right.
Thank you very much. I will try to be as quick as I can. On behalf of the South African Council of Churches, led by its Presidium, Bishop Stembele Sipuka, First Vice President Ms. Lula Mantuta, and Second Vice President Dr. Nyoma Fenta, member church leaders and the National Executive Committee, I greet you all present today, the board and members of the Kathrada Foundation, the CEO, and all members of staff, friends of the foundation, guests, and the two recipients of the Kathy Award, Mr. Edward Kisvita and Mr. Ishmael Momniat. It is a singular honor for the South African Council of Churches to be considered a friend of the Kathrada Foundation and be invited to be part of this prestigious event, the annual gala dinner, which includes the awarding of the Kathy Award for courage and service to society and the world. The life and witness of Ahmed Kathrada is not a mere recording of a past life, of a remarkable life in the past, who gave all of himself to the great cause of the noble task of creating a just and a free world, free of oppression, domination, a world defined by dignity, equality, and justice for all. It is a life that, when told and remembered at its best, is what the theologians call a subversive memory. It is subversive because it does not only critique the past as represented by the evil of apartheid, it also exposes the greed that hides behind struggle credentials. It subverts nativist politics that feeds on the fears and legitimate complaints of our people. It strips naked power mongering that empties our public institutions from morality, ethics, power that is sought for its sake and as a key to the public purse for self-enrichment, and public institutions become tools in the hands of people with no moral foundation nor ethical commitment. In Ahmed Kathrada's life, we get to know that power devoid of service and love is nothing but tyranny. Whoever holds that power, where service and love for people is absent, that power is tyranny. The SACC therefore says to you, Mr. Edward Kiswita and Ishmael Momniat, adds its congratulations for the courage and outstanding service you have provided to the country and the world. It was close to 10 years ago when the SACC, before God and nation, made a clarion call to men and women of courage and sacrifice to stand up and defend not only the democratic project, but the institutions that are meant to service our people. The SACC, the institutions amongst others, was the Treasury and the South African Receiver of Revenue. This we did as we presented on the 18th of May at Regina Mundi, 2017, when we presented what we called an unburdening report. And in that report we said, I quote, "It seems now that the problem is far greater than corruption. It is organized chaos. It is organized chaos that gives inappropriate control of state systems to a power elite whose intention is not to serve the people, but to use their networks to hollow out the service, to hollow out accountability, to hollow out transparency for the sake of a particular family and particular networks," unquote. It is this long protracted struggle of good over evil that you performed your task in the Treasury and SARS. Your courage and service, acknowledged today by this award you are going to receive, is testimony to the depth of the moral vision birthed in you through your parents, your schooling, your community, and the best traditions of our struggle. As I reflected on your work and the task to talk about courage and service, I could not resist the power and the meaning of the words left to us by one of my favorite poets, Ke o rapetse Kgotsitsile, in his poem, Wounded Dreams. He writes, "Among the silences of restless nights, my voice wants to break through the shell of words to name and sing the evidence of our resolve to live past the glib claim of noble intentions. If you've ever walked through the restless shadows of wounded dreams," he continues, "beware, the young ones of tomorrow might curse you by not wanting to remember anything about your ways, because everything about you leaves a bitter taste in the mouth. Amongst the silences of these restless nights, our dreams refuse the perfumed bandages that try to hide the depth of our wounds. Our voice yearns for the precision to name what we are most responsive to. Though the present remains a dangerous place to live," he continues, "cynicism will be a reckless luxury. Toxic lies pile high and deodorize to sound the most clear signage showing us the way from here. Not that I'm dotarted enough to think it could be easy or without pain to do anything of value. Though the present is a dangerous place to live, possibility remains what moves us. We are all involved. Indifference would simply be evidence of the will to die or trying to straddle some fences that no one has ever seen," unquote. In the darkness of a young democratic state, with the dreams that inspired our struggles and giving nobility to our cause, wounded by betrayal of those given the task of leading our people, you too summoned inner will to live past the glib claims of noble intentions. You too, walking through the restless shadows of wounded dreams, you chose to be aware. Live conscious lives knowing that the young ones of tomorrow are waiting, and they might just curse you by not wanting to remember anything about your ways, because everything about you leaves a bitter taste in the mouth. Today, to you, Mr. Kiswita, and to you, Madam Monant, we say we want to remember you because you leave a sweet taste in the mouth. You too know the truth that though the present remains a dangerous place to live, cynicism will be a reckless luxury. You did not do this because you believed it is easy to do it, or it is without pain, because you knew things of value are accompanied by struggle and pain. When it was dark, lonely, dangerous, corruption and mendacity seemed to overwhelm us, you, knowing that the present is a dangerous place to live, you chose to be moved by possibility. You remain involved, knowing that indifference will simply be evidence of the will to die or straddling some fence that no one has ever seen. You chose commitment, you chose participation, fueled by hope and knowledge that new possibilities of a new dawn, free of corruption, are possible. As the SACC congratulates you in receiving this prestigious 2025 Kathy Award for Courage and Service, to you, Mr. Edward Kiswita and Mr. Mono, of your gallant work of courage and service, we want to tell you that we do not wish to hero worship you. Nor do we want to be the proverbial public stands clapping and giving you a standing ovation that hides our own cowardice and complicity. But we, as the SACC, seek to join you in this noble fight. We do not only do so because of your own courage and service, but we believe this is what the SACC is about. We are a product of a dream professed by prophets like Amos in chapter 5, verse 24, when he says, I quote, "Let justice roll like a river, righteousness like a mighty stream," unquote. We are produced by an ancient call of the prophet Isaiah and echoed by Jesus Christ himself in the book of Luke. I quote, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. He has anointed me to bring good news to the poor, freedom to the captives, sight to the blind." So, here as well, challenged by our calling and inspired by your courage, we then go back and echo the words of Kirapetsi Khosisile in the same poem when he declares, "Together we must and we can rehabilitate our wounded dreams, to reclaim and nourish the song. May we all who are here rehabilitate the wounded dreams of our people. Reclaim the songs, dream and sing together. Again, congratulations to both of you. God bless us all.
Okay, thanks, Reverend Molo. You need a reverend to articulate this kind of message. I think only that kind of training can capture the words and the emotions that goes with saying thank you to the most courageous and to those who serve without the expectation of reward. To do the first award, can I ask our board member, Pumla Williams, to come and do the handover to Ismail Mamoniat? And as Ismail comes up, bear in mind that South Africa today has moved away from being grey listed. Now, I don't want to try and explain what this thing means. It's got nothing to do with beards and what have you. But it means that people can now trust us a little bit more in terms of how we manage our money and our ability to deal with corruption. It means getting loans is slightly easier. Not that it's the easiest things to do, but there's a little bit more higher level of trust. When we were grey listed, we were almost put in that list of countries that investors were saying, don't touch, just stay away from them. Ismail and others have done the most amazing work to take us out of that grey listing. So Pumla, we're asking you to hand over this plaque to Momo. And will Momo come up? Now, at some point we must buy a jacket and tie for him as well, but you will see this award has a replica of the Robben Island cell key. This was something that Uncle Kathy was so fond of walking around, because for him it was saying, we opened our jails. Robben Island couldn't keep our thoughts about freedom, although we were there, but our thoughts were not confined to the prison walls. And that's what this freedom means. We are saying to you, thanks for freeing the country as well. Ismail. Don't go. Please stay there. Prema Naidu, our other board member, please come forward to do the handover to Edward Kisvetter. Can I also declare that Edward used to be a former board member of the foundation and somehow became a commissioner of SARS. David Makura was a board member of the foundation, became a premier. Feroz Kachalia was a board member of the foundation, is now acting minister. Please don't think the foundation is the entry point. These are all purely coincidental. Edward Kisvetter, please come forward. Now, I know people are clapping, but they're clapping grudgingly. Prema says we're giving him the key to the island. He can go back with all your tax records. Right, can you just line up here for the photograph? Now, we're almost there, but if you could just all stand for a few more minutes. Momo, a few words from you, followed by Ed. And then there's another part to this before we finish. Momo?
No, look, I'm humbled by this award, but also embarrassed, because I think we should all be there to serve the country and its people. And of course, more than that, for those of us who work to free the country, we have to take responsibility for the mess up we did, for the corruption that you see. And, you know, getting off the grey list was difficult. It was embarrassing to be put there. But the worst lesson, Sean, is to say we've solved our problems and people can trust us a little more. All it means is that we can be trusted to start doing something about the problems we have, fighting corruption, money laundering, etc. It's far from saying that we've solved our problems. And in fact, we face what's called another review in 2 years' time. Now, the key point to make is the issue is not what FATF thinks of us, the FATF, the body that grey-listed us. The issue is what our people think of us. What are we doing about the fight against corruption? And corruption is really important to deal with, because every attempt by the state to deliver, whether it's to get rid of pit latrine toilets, or to deliver on education, or Tembisa Hospital to deliver services, at the moment, the corruption that we have is on a mega scale, to the point where the government is unable to deliver. And I want to just make the point, for many of us in a struggle, we would read Lenin on what is to be done. And his whole point, that the spontaneity of the masses will not bring about change. If we take a spontaneous approach to fighting corruption and think that the system will sort it out, we are mistaken. Organized crime, who are looting our procurement system, and that includes our politicians, many of them. We see that if you just follow the hearing, because corruption doesn't happen because politicians are fighting it. It's either they're too passive or, as we see, actively involved. And unless we have an activist approach and not a spontaneous approach to fighting corruption, we will not defeat it. Organized crime and corruption, are like not just a cancer, a virus that spreads, but like water. To the extent that we put up a barrier here, we're successful here, they're like water, it moves around. And we've got to move at the speed of light to rid of this country of that scourge of corruption. And I think in that sense, our entire non-racial and democratic project and our attempt to improve the material lives of our people are being threatened by corruption. And I think organizations like the Kathrada Foundation, with its activist approach, I think, and the SACC and all the other organizations, my sister here, Pumla, who was also right there, I think getting people not just to stand up, but to continue this fight in a much more organized and on a much more intensive scale. We've got to move. So the work's not done. It's really only begun, and there's a hell of a lot to do. But thank you very much.
Ed?
Thank you, Sean, and to the Kathrada Foundation. I wrote some thoughts down so that emotion does not overcome me. But let me start by just saying that I am deeply humbled by this honor. To receive an award that bears the name of Ahmed Kathrada, or Kathy, is to be measured against a standard of humanity, integrity, and moral courage and selfless service that very few can ever claim to meet. To have personally known Kathy and the opportunity to have walked with him for a brief portion of the incredible length of his purpose-driven life has been one of the singular privileges of my life. I met Uncle Kathy through the late Pravin Gordon almost 2 decades ago when Kathy was our tour guide on a visit to Robben Island. I was delighted when later Uncle Kathy and Sean invited me to serve on the foundation's board. I therefore accept this award not as a personal accolade or a reward for work already done, but as a reminder and a call to display even greater courage and continued commitment to selfless service. Kathy lived a life defined not by power, but by purpose, not by privilege, but principle. He endured imprisonment, hardship, and separation, and yet remained gentle in spirit, unwavering in conviction, and steadfast in his belief in a just, non-racial, and inclusive South Africa. And this reminds us that leadership is not noise, but quiet courage, the courage to speak truth in difficult rooms, to choose integrity when compromise is easy, and to continue serving even when the work is exhausting. And it is in this spirit that I would reflect tonight on an institution often spoken of in technical and legal terms, but whose role in our democracy is profoundly moral, and the institution I speak about is the South African Revenue Service. Allow me a few minutes to share with you why I think that SARS is a national treasure that we must protect. It seems unusual to talk about it in this way, but SARS is not merely a collector of revenue. It is the guardian of the fiscal foundation of our democracy, and far too often underappreciated. In the past 7 years, South Africa has faced immense fiscal strain. National government debt, just in the past 7 years, increased by 2.6 trillion rand. Nearly 1 rand in every 5 rand we spend is spent on servicing our debt, now costing more than 380 billion rand a year, more than policing, higher education, or public infrastructure. Yet in this storm, we remain steadfast, committed to serve our democracy. We've had our work done under trying circumstances. We had to stand up and still stand up to corruption. We are to be unambiguously clear that we would not bend our ear to political interference under any circumstances, doing what's right, even when it was personally painful, protecting our higher purpose with unyielding integrity. This allowed SARS during this challenging period to remain a stabilizing force. Let me share some numbers, because we're numbers people. Our tax to GDP ratio of 23% on average places South Africa amongst the top revenue performers on the continent, far above the 16% average tax to GDP ratio, above many Asian and Latin American countries, and approaching the highs of some of the OECD countries. This is not an accident. It is the direct result of thousands of SARS employees who show up every day, quietly and diligently, committed to professionalism over politics, integrity over expedience, and service over self-interest. Our trust during this period increased from 48% in 2019 to over 75% in the last independent survey. Have you ever asked yourselves what would happen if we had a weak or corruptible revenue administration? I tried to think about it in the following ways. If South Africa's tax to GDP ratio were closer to our African average of 16%, our borrowing over the last 7 years would not have been 2.6 trillion, but more than double at almost 6 trillion rand. We did not have to borrow it because of an effective and efficient revenue administration. If we had to borrow 6.6 trillion rand, debt service costs would have risen by another 650 billion rand. This is 650 billion rand which would have been robbed from our people, the most vulnerable being the poor and often women and children. And so you can see how SARS defends the fiscal integrity of South Africa, and through it, the hopes and dreams of South Africans. The Minister of Finance could confidently announce the debt would peak where it is at the moment, and slowly our debt service cost would decline. Returning to this award, Kathy deeply believed in ethical leadership, disciplined governance, and public service as an act of moral responsibility. And it is the example of Kathy that inspires us and that guides us in the institution of SARS. Integrity and independence, public trust, and voluntary compliance. And so SARS is not just the revenue agency, it is the guardian of our fiscal sovereignty, a pillar of ethical governance, and a protector of our democratic promise. I'd like to ask the SARS colleagues to stand for a moment, because they are the true heroes, and I just have the privilege to be the face. But so please stand, all our SARS colleagues. They are the men and women who defend our democracy. And it is people like them whom we should every day appreciate. So I accept this award on behalf of the dedicated men and women of SARS who serve our country quietly, diligently, and with unwavering integrity. Their work is the true honor I hold in my hands tonight as this award. I also accept this recognition in honor of the founding SARS Commissioner, Pravin Gordhan, who in many ways laid the foundation of the work on which we are privileged to build. PG, by the way, is the reason why I had the singular honor to meet Kathy. As we honor Ahmed Kathrada's extraordinary legacy, let us commit ourselves to lead with humility, serve with compassion, and protect the institutions that hold our democracy, and ensure that SARS remains a national treasure, jealously protected, wisely invested in, and always aligned to the values that Kathy embodied. Thank you for this profound recognition. I leave you with a call to action. Be an activist if ever you see SARS being abused, whoever it may be. Stand up and come forward to defend this institution, because without a well-functioning revenue authority, our democracy would be unfunded. I'm deeply humbled by this recognition, but above all, I remain a social activist and a servant of our beloved republic. Thank you.
know, all of you sit. That was a rather dull applause. Yeah. As we move towards closing, first, thanks Ed, and thanks Momo, thanks Rev. I think as all speakers have said, we have started the fight against state capture, but the crooks have extended their tentacles to every locality, almost every SGB, hospital, clinic, you name it. There are problems there. We have to build the capacity of society to deal with it wherever it happens. Not that we only can do it. There are a whole range of organizations in this hall here and outside who need your support. But most importantly, it requires every one of us in our day-to-day lives, in our families, in our streets, to do all that we can to demand accountability and transparency on everything that is possible. 2026, we launch a new calendar, which is a collector's item. All of you will get a copy as you leave. If we can just screen the cover of this, please. So that's the calendar that you will get. It's from resistance to reconciliation. It talks about key moments of resistance in the last 80-odd years in our country. From the 46 passive resistance, the TRC. Next year is an important commemoration of June 76, 50 years. Can you believe it? The Women's March, 70 years. Samora Machel is 40 years. 56 treason trial. And then we live in hope. We live in hope, in eternal hope, that Bafana can do something when they go to the land of Trump. No, we're not going to take negative comments, you know. I would like a range of people to come up here to receive the first calendars and to stand up here as recipients towards this move from resistance to reconciliation. Reverend Chikani, Snooki Zikalala, the chair of the ANC Veterans League, other board members here, Rashid Sidat, Razia Saleh, Fadil Musa, Sivi Mudli. Then Baron Lecrange. Baron does the most amazing work with Afrikaners across the country with a range of organizations. Civil society activists, Nicole Fritz, Cynthia Stimple, Rosalie Manning, Anton Haber, if he's still here, Mohammed Timor, stalwarts Ramni Naidu, Tim and Ilsa, Eba Umar, Naledi Kwadi from Defend Our Democracy. There's a couple of other names, Tsepo Lokwape, Noel Ndigi, Mabuyazi Dube, Itumuleng Moahi, Morris Smithers. There might be a range of other people here. Segi, if you would also come and join us from the health sector. This is our small token of appreciation, which is a copy of this calendar. Now, the person who has made this calendar possible for the last 12 years has said he doesn't want to come up. But Niren, if I can please indulge you, if you are here, to please come forward. This has been your project from Sherino Printers. You've made this possible. Please come forward. But we're not giving you one, eh? Yeah, because you have quite a few of it. All right, you can all, okay. Eunice, is that fine? We need you all holding up the calendars as if you like it. All right, now there was one very last thing. Shaida, you have a cake there. I don't know what you wanted us to do with the cake, but this year marked the centenary of Comrade Cholo. 100 years, still alive, still active, worthy of celebration. It's 90 years of Mac Maharaj, still active. Prema has just turned 80 this year. Shanti is 90. I don't want to go to the ages of many others here, but you can see which side of the clock many of you are. So what do you want to do with the cake, Shaida? Okay, you're going to tell them to light it. All right, bring it up. Let's light it. Now, please don't drop the cake now. Now, I guarantee you we don't have candles here, right? Oh, on the tables. All right, these big ones. You think you can bring it up without dropping it? Hey. This is a tradition we started from Kathy's 60th. Just as he was coming out of Robben Island, before he came out, we did his 60th birthday. And then when we formed the foundation, almost every year, there was a celebration. Hey, the cake would have gone now, but anyway. Elf, I forgot, Elf is here as well. Elf has just celebrated his 70th birthday. Elf, you have to come up here. You belong in this crowd. All right, so this cake and that singular candle is to celebrate all the milestone birthdays of the people that I've mentioned and all of yours that we haven't mentioned. But is to also thank everybody here for the service and the courage that you render daily to save this country and to make it a better place. On that note, let me also thank all of you, but one last thing. There's those leaves on the tables. Yeah, you thought you were going to just escape, nah? Can you please fill them up? Just hold them up. Once you've held it up, we collect it, you can get tea and you can go home. Yeah, but they must first show us that leaf has been filled in. Those pledge forms, if you have it, there will be members of the foundation who will circulate. We really need your support, as small as it might be, it helps. Please fill it in, and we want to peg them up there before we go. So, Shada, who do you want to, are we blowing out this candle, if at all? And he's also just turned 80, right? Prema, they want you to blow out the singular candle. We didn't want to put 80 then, eh? Shada, put the candle this side. All right. Happy belated birthday, Prema, and to all the other stalwarts. Over to you, sir. Right. Friends, it's been an honor and privilege having all of you here. Thanks to all of you on stage as well. These are souvenir copies. Please don't come and ask for more tomorrow because we don't have any more. Unless Niren gives us some more, we don't have after today. Please, there is dessert at the back. We really would like you to drop off your leaves that you filled in so that we can fill up that tree. Our WhatsApp number will be will be put up here. Our email address will be put up. Whatever form of assistance you can render to the foundation, whatever centenary idea you have, please raise it with us. Whatever doors you can open for us to go and try and raise the resources we need for our work, we would appreciate that. Please get in touch with us. Anelia, can we put up the details on stage? As we do that, and as you take your piece of cake, please go down, but don't fall on the stairs. We are not covered by the road accident fund for any accident that might be incurred here, right? On that note, thank you all. Please go home safely. Thank you. There is dessert, I'm told. Please don't go without dessert. Take your cake here. Thank you.
You are amazing. You are wonderful.
Wonderful.